Oh, Kissay! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the LCO delivered by Menulog. It is time to jump on into game number 3 of the day. But of course, before we do, Skimmy, I just wanted to tell you I like you. And look, this game though, it's going to be an interesting... I like you too, Rusty.
You
Sorry,
just got so baited.
I didn't mean to leave you out. I was just letting you know, just share the love.
Okay.
Before the end of Pride Month, we can still, love each other after Pride Month.
I will love you after this.
I'm glad that, when Kitty says it, she's here, but I feel like this extra space allows for the electricity
I'm just staring you down, just intensely.
These two are dangerous.
Never let us on a couch together.
True.
Never, ever, ever.
Dangerous.
Now, look.
Also a really loud couch.
It could be, not right now, but maybe in next week. Oh, voice back, beautiful. Now, look, let's start talking about the game. These two teams, Kanga up against PGG, is going to be interesting. The most interesting thing, though, not only is the Kanga lineup, but what does the GG and PGG stand for? No one will ever know. That is what I need to highlight. As well as Foreigner doing a really good job in the jungle at the moment. Are you all right, Rusty?
Yeah, it just stands for GG, but that doesn't stand for anything. So, it's true. What do you want me to say? I just thought that was funny.
I love
it. It's great.
I wanted you to talk about Kanga real quick. They're looking real good, looking real fine there. Fighto. Oh, look at the guns on this man, Skimmy.
Absolutely. Bit of Kamehamehas. Cheeky psyching himself up there, big Lionel. I mean, look, last time he played, he was actually the jungler. This will be a similar situation to our last game, right? When Kanga can actually bring in their full roster. They had triple 80 carries last time around, and they brought Pensnet to close to 40 minutes. Certainly made them sweat, certainly made them worry. Brought us to a game which has only been one of 2 games that have actually gone to an Elder Drake, which is pretty crazy.
Yep.
So I think Kanga can go into this one with a lot of hope. And a lot of belief that this isn't going to be as one-sided as the games we've seen so far.
Very true. Now, I just want to point out as well that Fighto said something in that video. I actually had something, and it just completely slipped my mind.
What are you thinking, Mac? Are we thinking that he said something about, what his favorite song would be on a remote island, or, he doesn't care if Liv's not showing up to scrims?
It was neither of those two.
Okay,
it was another one of the points.
I'll just keep
drinking. But let's just say, look, staying alive. No, it was his song thing. So he goes next. He uses YouTube to listen to music, and then hits go next to just let YouTube.
Oh, like the autoplay.
Yeah.
The auto plays his way through.
He's like, if he doesn't vibe it, he just hits go next. I was like, it's a little odd. Anyway, look, PGG, they are definitely the favourites going into today's game.
They're going next.
And rightfully so. BalKhan. I guess he got a little bit abused yesterday by Dials. They targeted where he was going on his jungle path. They read him like a book. And I feel like he's going to be out with a vengeance today because this man wants success, Rusty. And he didn't get it yesterday, so he's that much more hungry today.
Yeah, yesterday they picked Sejuani with 4 ranged champions, so it was very difficult for the Sejuani to be utilized for, the passive that exists, one of the key features there, over something like perhaps the Ornn Wukong that we saw be very successful yesterday, in contrast to that as a composition. But their game against the Direwolves, they did get red, like you mentioned. BalKhan had a pretty rough go of it for sure. Still had his team playing around him. This is one of the examples of one of the good moments, right, where Winterer was able to come down and ensure that they found themselves kills. But when push came to shove, they couldn't keep up with the Direwolves. They just couldn't keep up with them. And one of the big things that stood out to me, Mac, was, I forget who it was in the interview now, but they said that Tally said that Yuri's the biggest competitor right now for probably best mid laner in the league. But they put him on weird champions. So if he has a normal champion pool, then he's probably our best mid laner right now. And even just watching the games he's played with these weird champions, he's been really good. He has been the star of the show.
Where's Trind at the moment? Because I remember Yuri on Trind last split, it was popping off, but we haven't seen too much Trind. It's like he's sort of out of meta at the moment. Is he being played anywhere in the world?
Got banned last game. I don't think he's a mid laner as much.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess more of a top laner.
I'd say top probably, yeah.
Did get hotfix buffed, I think, after the durability patches, but that's a big patch to get rid of Tryndamere.
Very true. Very true. Well, I got a big man who can get rid of all of the awkwardness here on the couch. It's Rogue. We're going to have a quick chat. Rogie boy, how you doing? Looking comfy.
How you sitting, Mac?
Yes.
We need some beds in the studio, man.
Just lounging. I was just getting ready for. I was trying to channel, your gameplay today. You're just lounging, right? Is that what today's game is going to be like?
I mean, I'm in my own home. I get the ability to be comfortable, to relax, and I see to you the ESL studio makes you feel right at home. So you do amazing work in your own home, and I'll do the same.
Oh, handshakes, firm handshakes. There we go. and that's the interview. See you later, Rogue. Now, look, how's the bot lane treating you? Because look, you and Praedyth had a bit of a rough game yesterday. Have you figured out what went wrong? You're looking at what you can improve on going into today, and obviously today's opponent maybe not as strong as Dire Wolves in terms of the prep. But what are you feeling like? What's the general sense in the camp?
I think if you look at yesterday's game, I think we outmatched them. We lost. Because we did a big int level 1, completely ruins the game, a little bit of an int draft. But if you look at, all these team fights that should be impossible to win, we're almost winning them. And I don't know if you've seen my controversy on Twitter, but Rakan comboed a Silas and he's on you during CC. And so I want a remake and I want my LP back, all right? So
was that in
I'm blaming everything.
Was that in a norm or was that in yesterday's game though?
No, that was in LCO.
Oh,
that was in LCO. That was a 4-0 Silas that I CC'd that just used his Onyo while airborne. So FF.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not the server guy. I don't know these things. I can't help you here. I can forward your complaints on to everyone else. But look, we got a mark check. Every time we see him run through the background, he's getting longer and longer shorts on. I just want to point that one out. Sorry, it's actually this way. But one last question before I let you go and get ready. It's National Outdoors Day at the moment. I've already asked, who they want to go on a picnic with, who they want to go on a hike with, but I want to know who you would go to the beach with. Is it Marky Mark or is it someone else in the team?
No, his shorts are getting too long. He wouldn't be any fun at the beach. BalKhan for sure. Yeah? I feel like I have the problem when I take my shirt off that everyone's looking this way and I get too much attention. It's like, damn, it's too beautiful of a man. But when BalKhan takes the shirt off, it's like the only man in existence that can take that spotlight off me. So I would take him just so that I can enjoy myself at the beach.
But more importantly, who builds a better sandcastle, you or him?
I feel like BalKhan would get angry and smash it, so me.
True. I love that. Now, beautiful. Yeah. Marky's getting ready to go back to the game.
He's ready.
So we'll let you go. Let you jump on into the game. See you later, Rogue.
Thanks, mate. Yeah.
What a
great interview.
Beautiful. Straight up called himself so handsome that everyone at the beach looks at him.
I let it slide.
Yeah, my first thought is a gamer at the beach is just going to be like a beacon, like a lighthouse, because we're all just indoors. But
Look, who am I to say that he is not looked at the beach? Maybe it's because he's bright as a light. Who knows? It's up for debate. We can maybe get some look. DreamHack's in Melbourne. He's in Melbourne. We could go to the beach. We could see how many people look at him at the beach. That's content right there. Either way, look, Dare fan vote time. You guys get your Twitch points in. Tell us how you think this game's going to go. Is Kanga going to upset the odds? Or is Pentanet going to excel and bounce back after a big fat L yesterday? Let us know with your Twitch points. How do we think this game's going to go? Are we all Pentanet? Let's have a look. Ooh, very similar today. Okay, so nothing crazy. But again, Rusty, look, you've had to use a lot of your imagination today to get through it. But Game 3, Kanga, if they pull a victory today, where is it going to come through and how's it going to happen?
I think Fighto Gap is obviously the first place that my mind will go towards at all times. I don't think that they could do it through bot lane. I think that's going to be a bit of a wash because they're so passive there. But what I would like is for Kanga not to play the Corki. Azir is okay, but not to play the Corki play style, to try and actually keep up a little bit early game and then have like one scaling champion as the win condition, because I think that's where they kind of fail against the better teams, is they'll trap themselves by either having too much scaling and lose early, or they won't have enough scaling and they'll just lose because the other team's better. Okay,
are we feeling like top lane? Do we want to talk about that at all? Is that a chance for Kanga again? Lived is there. He's generally been their win condition in their good games.
Yeah, Lived is good. Like I think Lived definitely always has been one of the carry threats for this team. So he's always going to be a place to look at. But like, I don't think he's ever had those games where he's been a hero. You know, like he is good, but he kind of coasts in that position where he is just good Lived. So that's why I think that mid is like the make or break lane, and then Lived goes along for the ride.
So Kanga's into this game is through Fighto and Yuri getting put on a weird champ, just like Tally was saying yesterday. You reckon that's it?
I back it.
Just bit of odd drafting going through.
Yeah, like a blind Fiora mid.
Would your boy Chippies allow that though? Is that like a thing?
Gonna let it end.
He's never gonna end this one.
I don't know. I mean, PGG players could just ego drop. Like Winter has said that already. He's like, I'm just gonna play these champions. Chippies, of course, put the foot down. 80% of the scrims are on a Sejuani, but there's a world.
You're playing it, Chief.
That means 20% existed.
And it is, maybe, the Praedyth, it exists when he gets to play what he wants. I guess he's had, relatively decent performances. He had a rough game against Direwolves, right? He got caught out a couple of times there.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately it got to a point where the bruise was a little bit too strong so that they could literally just run at the Twitch, and he never got to utilize his range. You saw in that final fight, right, when the game's actually won for Direwolves, Dante's completely untouched, and Praedyth is kind of just like, I need peeling, guys. And wasn't as easy as said.
Yeah, do you peel when you go to the beach? Do you get a little bit too burnt?
I do. 5 minutes in the sun, I'm done.
It's like the same for me. I actually need to go put some sunscreen on.
It's a big issue.
I got told Champ Select's ready, so I'm going to grab this 5-gum. Oh,
Good to be a Gold Coaster. That's all I'm saying.
Beautiful business. Yeah, look, all right, Mr. Tan Skin. Game's ready. Show us the champs.
Yeah, we couldn't actually be much more different, right? Born in London, so, I get excited when it's like 21 degrees. That's a good day in the beach for me. But
2 hours, the sun's a big day.
Yeah, there certainly is, mate. Pale white for me. Let's log into this one. Game number 3 here. Kanga Esports up against Pentanet.gg.
Lots of AEDs left up. That's the first big takeaway here, where so many bans in. Sejuani, Kindred, a specific ban for a very unknown reason. BalKhan has played that, but first 3 bans, it's quite a surprise. And the Ezreal and Yuumi taken away with the Wukong on red side. So Senna, Zeri left up and available. And this is exactly what I've been saying for a while now, Skimmy. I think it's the first time we've really seen it. You don't have to ban every OP champion if you're more comfortable playing one of them. And so for someone like Lionel, perhaps, who has been playing support, maybe he's more comfortable playing Senna than he has been with other ADs, the past few weeks.
Sure.
And also that's, maybe that's just so much more comfortable for them. They're willing to give away a Zeri composition with the Yuumi already banned. They can go for Senna and flexible champion.
I'm really curious to see if we will actually get a flex champion to pair with the Senna, or if it just will be that default of the Tahm Kench, which it has been time and time again. PGG can answer back with a Lee Sin, actually. Their first Lee Sin of the split. We know how BalKhan be quite aggressive in his approach to these games, so certainly love to see that one locked in with Zeri as well. Mobility, seemingly the key theme so far.
Yeah, lots of mobility there for PGG for sure. No Yuumi for the Zeri, however, means it's not gonna be as straightforward as like Zeri jumping walls, getting both of them out to safety. It can be paired with a lot of things in reality. Engaged champions. Now you've seen the Tahm Kench in the center, like the Nautilus can work. I think that's the kind of thing that Aladoric would consider. The Rakan obviously similar in that respect. It's like the enchanter that can engage, kind of jack of all trades champion right now is Rakan for the meta. Rogue played it yesterday and looked pretty good on it.
I'd love to see after we learned yesterday. Bit of mid AP Zeri.
Yeah, I was watching the French League highlights. It was actually very funny to watch. If Yuri plays the weird champions, certainly a possibility, but we also know that Praedyth is a very good Zeri
absolutely.
player.
I'm sure Praedyth will be saying it's not going to ever happen on my watch. Doesn't get left through it.
And I don't think you pivot to Xayah into Kanga's composition. You'd rather be kiting forwards than backwards. So I don't think that Xayah makes any sense in reality.
We can dream, though.
We can. We absolutely can. BalKhan's Lee Sin also with the Wukong gone. You're expecting a Viego from Kanga. But right now, because they've gone Senna TK, they have a Gangplank top lane. You wouldn't mind a jungler with a bit of crowd control there to help the team out. You can't go Jarvan, there's too much mobility. Trundle can work, but it's not hard crowd control. And again, they have actual dashes and mobility, so I don't think Trundle can work. The Viego really does just kind of present himself as one of the best remaining jungle champions. Unless we go down the path of something very different for Foreigner, like a Rek'Sai into the Lee Sin matchup.
Sure.
Which can work.
If Foreigner really wants to bring the pain and pressure to him, that could certainly be an exciting way. We've actually seen BalKhan play that exact matchup into a Lee Sin, so he'll be quite adept at it. Hovering the Nocturne right now, as that one gets locked in, let's talk about the Rumble. Another champion that we said, certainly a very small sample size, but Winter is one of those players, even when it was niche, that would lock that in last split.
We spoke about this today, just very coincidentally, before today started. Rumble, low win rate champion right now in solo queue. It always kind of has been, however. In competitive, tends to run Ignite, go very aggressive towards top lane. You'll see a couple of different builds. It could be the Night Harvest, it could be Riftmaker type of specs, but we'll see where they choose to go. What we do know is that Winter has played this into Gnar matchups. Gangplank seems like something he would happily play it into as well. Just a hover. It's just a hover.
There's a part of me that's just like, imagine.
Zeri mid, and then Ashe Rakan bottom. Imagine picking Ashe into Lissandra Nocturne. You know what I mean? Like, it's zero chance.
Yes. Can't say I'd be too fond of that one. So ultimately, they are just trolling us from what could be to what actually will be. Viktor locked in as that final pick. We'll get the exact same mid lane matchup as we saw in the game just gone by. And what I see from Kanga is a lot of zonal pressure.
And if you saw last game as well, you'll note that Viktor Lissandra was fairly even in how they matched up 1v1, but the Lissandra has so much gank setup, and they have a Nocturne jungle.
This is literally Chiefs when they had the Hex Gates, remember? When they switched off the lights,
they
took the Hex Gates across, they locked you all in place, they got the resets, and yeah, Taboon then had that Cannon Barrage, got a Quadra.
I also think, from memory, Senna, Tahm, Kench has one victory total that was the Chiefs. So this is very akin to a Chiefs composition, you would say. The only difference is that Gangplank's actually been available to be picked, where Taboon perhaps would be playing Gnar in this situation instead. Either way, composition from Kanga, I would say, is pretty deadly. Very nice pick composition. The global pressure at team fights is absolutely insane. It was Gangplank, I'm pretty sure, from Taboon, because he got the highlight play of the day by just pressing R.
It was into the order composition where they had all the poke. They just altered into the entrance of that dragon, and they just couldn't move away. So, pretty crazy circumstance here. And I think this is pretty much everything we could ask for, right? We know that Kanga love to invest in scaling, but they've got the bridge to reach it, right? They've got the investment of, here are clear definitions of how we're going to look to try and set ourselves up, how we want to try and control that mid game. So if we do get to late, we're strong enough to still be an absolute threat by them.
Absolutely. And I'm a big fan, first of all, of the adaptations in draft that we've seen from Kanga between days. I think this is actually a pretty big improvement in draft overall. They should be pretty content with this, and Kanga have also been notoriously very good at getting early leads in the early game. So the reason that this matchup is actually really nice, yesterday is a complete aside to all of this as well, is that they are pretty solid at getting an advantage. By 15 minutes, it's converting that lead into actually hitting late game, other than Fighto getting a pentakill in a 1v5. That's where they really start to struggle. And this is a composition that can absolutely convert early advantages into team fight victories, right? Forcing fights at objectives with Lissandra flanks, with Nocturne ultimate, with the ability to move around with a Tahm Kench protecting. Big fan.
Big fan indeed. And as a quick reminder, once again, last time these two teams did battle, it went all the way to 38 minutes. The game was actually pretty much dead even at 25 minutes into this one. So we are certainly strapping ourselves in for what could be a really exciting way to see these two teams look to try and find that rematch and find out advantage on a different footing this time around. Well, let's load into the coaching interview. I do believe we have Chippies on the line. Bro, thank you for joining us. Welcome back. I suppose where to start, how do you reflect on last night's loss and I suppose that first round robin as a whole?
Hey man, yeah, the last two losses were pretty tough. I'd say the biggest reflection I have is stuff that works really well in scrims looks pretty terrible on stage. So I was kind of letting some suboptimal drafts happen just because we have good scrim results. But, you know, playing on stage is a whole different game. So I'm going to say I'll start drafting more with an iron fist and it's a better draft. Like the one we got now, I think it's a lot easier to play than what we've been doing.
Yeah, sure. I mean, speaking of draft, what do you find easier, I suppose, to work around with, right? We've obviously seen this clear definition of banning away either lots of AD carries or, in this case, leaving a lot of those really strong champions up and available. Do you find that easy to work with or harder, given that there's just too many options to choose from?
Yeah, I think there's so many options. You just ban what the enemy team's good at and play what you're good at. I don't think there's like one way or the other you have to play.
To see how this one works out. So we got Winter back on that Rumble. Well, we're going to let you go. We're going to jump into this one before we miss any first blood. Pleasure as always, mate.
All right, thanks, G. Happy birthday, Rusty, big man.
Thanks, boss. Always a big fan of Big Chip Dogs. Have, of course, worked with him in the past, just like Mir. Only one of them unsolicited called it out, all right?
He's a real one.
Thank you, Chippies. Get into this game. We haven't had any level 1 action. It is in fact just going to be both junglers pathing from bot side to top side camps. All 6 camps. Nocturne traditionally does like a good 6 camp clear, hit level 4, and really just playing for 6. Take your opportunity if the perfect gank chance arrives, yes, but if your opponents have perfect vision, they're able to stop you from getting a gank off, then you are just farming for your ultimate. Really good lanes to set up for, as we spoke about during draft, except for top lane, but you can protect that Gangplank. That's probably the biggest feature there. The other thing for me, Skimmy, is that there is 2 first strikes on the side of Pentanet.gg. So Rumble actually going for the first strike alongside Yuri. Viktor can do it. It just means there's really free money every time you hit the laser. Just a free first strike in the pocket. You take those, you're pretty happy with those, and has actually gone for Resolve as his secondary trait. So this is interesting to me because it means that he has to have Biscuits for mana, and that is the only sustain tool that he'll actually have. Not going to have Mana Flow Band for extra flat mana amounts by any means, and that actually significantly reduces his total mana pool on resets. So I am wondering if it's going to be like a first strike tier build, perhaps. To just be able to sustain in lane, because it does to me scream like I will be out of mana at all times mid right now. He's almost already out of mana.
Yeah, it doesn't get much easier. No passive to rely on to try and get that back.
Out of mana.
Now, he's literally an auto-attack character.
Top lane is the interesting one though, right? Like the decision to go for first strike on Rumble is probably just going to be like you're seeing now, the occasional poke. Gangplank is a melee champion, so there's certainly windows where you'll be able to proc that, make some money. I think this is just both solo laners on Pentanet saying it's free. Right? The scaling in this lane is so free that we just make extra money. We get there a little bit faster than you. First strike equals, you know, 1 extra potion or a control ward on reset that you don't have, which is like a wave worth of tempo almost. And that has value.
Maybe a cheeky interaction also of trying to keep up the pace with GP. That would also be farming up an Absolute Storm.
Second wind actually is the unflinching second wind is the rune choices from Yuri. Only one of the tenacity trees, however, has been picked up, right? Where you could go for something like precision, presence of mind, and legend tenacity. Second wind is an interesting one. Lissandra does harass fairly often with the Q poke, but that's really the only consistent harass that you'd be seeing.
Maybe just make him a little bit more agile based on what we mentioned before from Kanga being a lot of CC setup, right? Any slow, any soft CC lands, there's a lot of ability for them to jump on through, right? It could be the Senna route, it could be the Abyssal Dive from the Tahm Kench, it could just be literally Fighto jumping in, self-casting an ultimate, and you can't do anything about it.
So just quickly as well, while we are on these runes, top lane it makes sense to have second wind, right? Because Rumble and Gangplank will be hitting each other incidentally with spells all the time. Gangplank, if you're ever laning against a Gangplank, and this is League 101 for anyone at home, 100% if you don't have second wind and a Doran shield, you're going to get harassed out of the lane. The sustain that comes from those two is crazy, and if you are an AD champion, you have a Phage, like you actually have so much more health in that lane, and Gangplank doesn't run away with it. But mid could be bone plating for the Viktor. It just means you have to be able to control the timings of your own skirmishes. And if you're trying to force tempo and control, you may just accidentally proc bone plating all the time, and therefore it's useless. So second wind is a good default. And that's it on runes for now. I don't want to go that deep again.
Your professor had off for the meantime.
It was a lot.
How are you enjoying yourself? And I think it's a good conversation, right? Because it's not often that we do see some of these adaptations like this. Well, seeing Winter have a lot of fun though topside, landing the Harpoon and then just hitting the Flamethrower into lived, making his life so difficult that he has to go back to base first and TP back towards that turret. Another chance to actually see this reworked Zeri in action, right? This new critical strike build.
Yeah, Shield Bow is pretty much the only item that I think I've seen as a mythic from Zeri so far. Not too much flexibility in that first item completed. Essence Reaver is the obvious choice afterwards, right, to have the Sheen proc. But we have seen some different choices there, so we'll see. Kind of, all things considered down in bottom lane, it's dead even in CS, dead even in farm. Things looking really nice for the Tahm Kench, right, to be able to stay there, but they haven't shown any signs of crazy aggression at all. I don't think we've seen the TK use his W forwards. Lionel's hit Ws, but it hasn't been followed through on. They also have Ignite in the lane. They have a heal that you could say is an advantage, but Cleanse there for Praedyth removes that Ignite damage. And Rogue also has Ignite himself. So what I'm getting at here, Skimmy, is there's no exhaust on Summoner's Rift today. Much more damage and aggression focused.
Yeah, definitely looks like we've got full clear and focus as well. Also, there's a Nocturne. You want to hit level 6 pronto.
BalKhan got it first.
Good bit of vision, though. Bit of tracking from the side of Pentanet to know exactly where he was on that red buff. BalKhan is now going to pop his head into top lane, patiently waiting. Not going to be spotted out. Equalizer, locks, lived in plays. Get kicked straight back into that one. The cannon barrage comes down, splits the wave, but it's not going to trim the wave. So it's enough to try and deter Pentanet from staying much longer.
I think Lived actually used his W to flash out of the Sonic Wave connecting from BalKhan. From what I could tell, he flashed over it, which is a really nice play from the Gangplank in that situation to keep himself out of lethal, right? The damage that comes down initially, if the resonating strike isn't going to be there from BalKhan, then there's no shot they have the kill. So that was 2 ultimates used for an ult back, but also a summoner spell. You're happy with that if you're PGG, but that was so well weathered by this GP. Stays in lane and is actually up in farm.
Yeah. All things considered, certainly feeling very happy that the first gank with the inline track to hit ult first doesn't work in their favor. Foreigner probably the happiest on the Rift right now with that in mind.
Contested.
He's got to be careful though, because as you say, that is a Herald that is going to be contested. The lights go out,
Ooh,
and Fighto jumps in, locks in place 2 with the root, then self-cast the ultimate. The root comes out from Senna, zones away Winter at first blood found by Foreigner, however. And Kanga won't going to give that one up for free. They have lost the Herald though, and Rogue's picked that up.
But that was actually 5 members from PGG coming to the fight. That's a Rumble and a Lee Sin that don't have ultimate when that fight starts, and Rogue still being level 5, so he's not going to be able to contribute that to the fight as well. The decision to contest that feels like it's a little bit much from PGG. Because meanwhile, Kanga, yes, they don't win the Smite fight, and so that's tragic, but it was a flip. Still have a Tahm Kench farming bottom, right? He is casually farming bottom at that. Has been doing a lot of nice work down here. And it's easy to move just the 1 member in the center up there. So resources still much more efficiently farmed out here by Kanga. PGG will get it though, so it's not too bad.
Certainly isn't. It was Foreigner getting the kill onto BalKhan of all people. Trading ults and finding value in that regard. They're going to find themselves up by 1,000 gold right now. And also we know how many plates can be achieved by that Herald charge. And no doubt Rogue will then be forced to link up with BalKhan at some stage here and find a moment to shine. Obviously the next Drake is up in a minute. So good timing for them to try and deploy in the mid lane if they would like. That's where we see him right now.
He's already reset and disappearing on the map, right? Is deployed up towards the top side. Don't know if he'll get spotted. That's the question as he walks up river. It's possible if he's not hugging the top wall. I do think they just saw him, however, because he walks towards his control wards and they haven't cleared that one there. So they know where Rogue is. The question is, what do they do? Lived has no ultimate and he stayed at the turret.
They want to dive this one and then get that turret as well for free. Lived does not have his ultimate. It's up in 10 seconds, Rusty. He's got no summoners. He's got no support. The TP comes in late from Fighto, but he's going to get a kill underneath it. That's a great trade, all things considered, and that prevents the Herald being used.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit late from Fighto, but he was clearly watching, waiting for the dive to commence before he committed the teleport. The wave's crashing mid, so Pentanet.gg won't summon the Herald. They'll see Fighto teleport top. They'll get a chance to summon it mid if they want now for a couple of extra plates, and Yuri gains a lot from this. It's bold from Kanga to make sure that Liv stays, just cops the dive and tries to get through it, but end of the day, I don't think that Pentanet.gg are upset by that. They brought the 1,000 gold deficit to 300.
Huge injection of gold. Yes, as you say, would have loved to go top, but the original plan would have been mid to guarantee pressure and tempo to go for the second Drake as well. BalKhan will not slow down yet. Foreigner has everything up and available. But we'll merely just walk away from that one. Both feeling rather low, down at 50%. The center route is there, just going to pass the love around to Yuri.
Lee Sin no ultimate again, they're going.
The light goes out one more time, and that is going to be the Abyssal dive in. Cancelled out here is not going to be the execute that they wanted on towards Rakan. BalKhan forced to disengage away across the wall. Praedyth also dashing as well.
Lissandra ultimate was used on the Yuri. He cleanses that one. PGG don't seem like they want to just give this away for free, but they've lost so much health.
Look at Winter at topside as well.
Yeah, Winter are freely farming, so if nothing else, they're keeping them busy. Yuri full health is probably the real saving grace here. BalKhan able to get some health back by smiting the Gromp camp, but Rogue and Praedyth could get one hit potentially if they're not careful.
They've got to be careful. Rogue is looking to try and get that heal up.
Foreigner low as well.
as quickly as he can. It's going to come down to a smite fight, not just for the Drake, but just to keep these junglers alive.
Gangplank's teleporting top, so they're giving away this Drake. At a certain point, he had no choice but to go back top lane, and he just kind of stuck around for a whole extra wave before they made the decision.
And Pendant have done such a great job in a 4v5 keeping Kanga interested. As we said before, Windrow's up there free farming. He's already got his Mythic item complete. And after that entire dance, it is Pendant to get their second Drake.
And a bunch of wards to be placed by Winter on the top side of the map here as well. We'll see the Nocturne if he cycles towards top camps, but Foreigner has no ultimate. So it's going to be very difficult for him to have a real impact right now. And I do enjoy moments of gameplay like that, Skimmy, where you, instead of just forcing the play, you just keep them entertained and make Kanga make bad decisions. You know, that pressure, the forced errors that can come out from your opponents can do more to actually help you win the game than forcing plays yourselves. League of Legends is all about pressure.
Speaking of pressure, the itemization now from Yuri with his Mythic option. He's gone for the Crown. We've yet to see the Crown in what feels like an eternity. Ever so reliant on those items like Everfrost, for instance, but there's a lot of burst, there's a lot of dive. And we have seen, in the past actually, I believe, it might have been actually Pentanet up against Chiefs, where he just built like a full battle mage, all resistances, and the late game Viktor just could not be taken down.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen Crown in recent memory.
In a long time.
In general, there might be 1 or 2 games where I've seen someone build it, and I've always thought that's a bit, like it's a bit off. In terms of his opponents here, because they are kind of like an all-in dive composition and he has the cleanse, it is very valuable if he's able to keep the Crown ready for the fight.
Sure.
And I don't think that it doesn't operate in the same way. So like if I'm playing into Nocturne Lissandra, I can't go Banshee's Veil for one, because if I have a Banshee's Nocturne ult removes that, so it's useless. The Crown has utility in the sense that I don't think Nocturne ultimate would proc that because it needs to be a damage source that applies, and then Nocturne can't ult you ever. So I like the idea behind this item. I think it can have a lot of value here. It just means you have no damage compared to the other mythic items that are just good.
You're delaying the inevitable. You're just bridging the gap to make sure that you can reach that late game stage as a Viktor. Where the itemization will be the least of your issues. 30 minutes into this one. Fair chunk of change has been found from some of these turret plates. And the gold lead is looking to try and go back the way of Kanga as they dive into mid lane. The Paranoid goes out, but he's the only one feeling anxious because he's going to fall on down.
They just don't have damage. I mean, their mid laner right now has Merc Treads and no mythic item. There was never a world they kill Yuri there. That's a lot.
Fighto's though going to try and hedge his bet and have another crack at it. Glacial Tomb on his head, looking for the damage afterwards. Wants to try and cleave off a minion, but he's got nowhere to run. A flash Q, he's missed it. It's such a short projectile, and he might just pay the ultimate price for this one. Yuri literally dodging everything. Another Q from Lissandra, a Cannon Barrage, Dawning Shadow, and BalKhan's just grateful to get an assist.
Yeah, BalKhan happy to get the +1. Top lane's going to lose his turret as well. Gangplank ultimate was used for mid instead of defending top. Lionel does use the Senna ultimate, but it only applies a shield, not the damage. I mean, that's a comedy of errors that unfortunately just all happens all at once.
I'm going down bot side, fully stacked up. Tieng consumes that of Rogue. He just hits the ultimate as he comes on out and says, Praedyth, it's time to shine. Lightning Storm active. He's got the movement speeds. He's looking to try and take down a key target. He's got his sight set on this Senna. The auto attacks are cleaving. But Tieng is body blocking as best as he can, and thankfully for them, the situation does not go from bad to worse.
Rogue actually tanks a turret shot in there and gets absurdly low on his health, but they know they're free to just take the 2v2 because all of the action's been happening mid, all of the teleports have been expended towards their own respective lanes. Yuri just going to zone away Fighto while they take themselves a turret. 2v2, pretty favorable here for Pentanet.gg, you would expect.
There he goes out into BalKhan, full out there by the root. Instant kick away while stunned in place. Everfrost locks him down, and then a guaranteed ult to give him that burst of injection.
Okay. And that wasn't a 2v2 Rumble ultimate. Oh, it's going to be 1 tick off. So close to finding that kill. I mean, BalKhan and Yuri weren't really on the same page there with what they wanted. The Lee Sin had the ultimate. That was a 1 ult apiece between the Liss and the Lee. The Viktor didn't use his until the very end of the fight, so if that was on cooldown, then they shouldn't be taking the fight at that exact moment. That's what it comes down to. But junglers, you know how we spoke about red dot syndrome with ADCs in lanes? Junglers do that with raptor camps. Always the Raptor camp. That is the most deadly camp in the game.
Might be why they're extinct. IRL.
Yeah. The Velociraptor camps.
Shout out to your dinosaurs.
Yeah, they'll hear it.
They'll hear it.
Shout out to them dinosaurs.
Oh, that was very close of interrupting that reset. Lionel was keen. He's got 54 stacks, so he's doing his best, on point, on track.
He's doing all right. 16 minutes in. We've seen a couple of games of Senna's where they have significantly more stacks, but it does feel like overall Lionel's been solid on this Senna. I feel like the 2v2 from Kanga has been solid. They did lose that small skirmish, but they're dead even in farm, right? They're controlling their part of the map.
Rogue's on. He's got the flash, but he's just going to start with the ult first. He's going to lock in place 2 key members, split Kanga apart. Tieng see now the focus. Equalizer goes down, flash away into the Dawning Shadow of Senna. And then BalKhan cops the ultimate from that Lissandra into a lot of global CC with the cannon barrage coming on down. Everybody here for a full 5v5 with the Drake up in 15 seconds. The fight continues. Pensnet want to get more than just one. They're going to struggle to even find that one, though.
And they're just going to body them all the way back to their turrets, force them back to a safe haven here for Kanga. This does mean that Drake should be free. Yuri cleanses extremely early, but using the cleanse reduces the duration of stun. So regardless, mid, he
classic.
Is fine. Just ice skates on him, Skimmy, and he'll be fine.
Felt mean a few times when I'd say Praedyth caught out on mid lane, but it happens so often now that I just think he appreciates the memes.
Yeah, it's a challenge at this point. Can I get caught and not die? He shows that he can if he's given Zeri. Of course, pretty easy to dash over the significantly longer walls in mid that are accessible on all sides.
Might be on here. Foreigner is in the area. As we know, Lived is there too. No ult, no flash.
They're trying to move towards top to defend this, but they don't have the health to do it by face checking. So Rogue's going to stick around. They're going to try and get Winterer to come in. A level 11 Rumble, if they're not safe, will just use the red carpet on the minion wave. But I think at this point, he should just be able to catch it perfectly fine, because he's got the hover from that Rakan. Now's a really good reset time, I feel like. Skimmy, both teams are just going to come back onto the map. We've got 4 minutes till the next Drake. There's nothing to really fight for right now.
Sure.
This is a moment of reprieve for both squads. However, 4 minutes until an Ocean Soul being threatened extremely early.
Very quick, 22 minutes in. Far quicker than their last occasion, where it went to 30 minutes before we got that soul point, later leading into an Elder.
Herald summoned in mid lane.
Back to back.
Nocturne showing top does make this a very free turret. Foreigner shows top to help Liv clear the wave. He was 1 minion off stacking that Cullen, completing it as well. But losing a full inner turret in mid lane, probably not going to be worth that, all things considered. And a second charge.
It's huge.
Oh, this is a lot.
Kanga have to find something. They feel so pressured to do something because of the amount of value that Pentanet just got there to consume the Devour. It's used early by Tieng, protecting his jungler. In goes BalKhan, looking for the kick. He can't find the kill, but the red carpet is there. And everybody is being cooked alive right now. Dawning Shadow on top of his frozen tomb.
Ooh.
And he's just going to fall down for free, but Kanga getting excited. They're fighting on the resets. The passive of Lissandra is starting to put in work so far. Tieng jumps on through the Abyssal dive, but he's run out of oxygen, and he's run out of opportunities. Praedyth skating across there. Seeing if he can try and snipe Fighto inside the enemy walls.
Kanga actually play that fight really well, Skimmy. They end up in a closer transaction than perhaps people would have considered. And Pentanet.GG are the ones that pressed forwards with that. Nocturne ult comes in, and it was a rough ult to start the fight. But even with that in mind, Fighto actually comes up huge in this skirmish. We'll see this again. Gangplank ult, Nocturne ult, ultimately wasted. But a very tanky Tahm Kench will save the Nocturne's life. The Lee Sin will come in. He will follow and just kick away the Tahm Kench, perhaps looking to kick him into the Nocturne. But either way, you'll see them go forwards here, and it's the Fighto show. Massive first combo, gets the reset there, the first passive proc. Right to the back of the mix, Senna W locks down 3. Q into his Azonias and flash away to safety. You can't ask for much more from your mid laner in that fight. That is one of those losing situation skirmishes, however, where it started so poorly and they brought it back to even.
That started pretty well in the regard of where his positioning was. Out of vision. Opens up with a 2-man Everfrost. And said, we will go 2 for 2 even here. Praedyth now starting to get really excited and try and take in those trades. Stopwatch was burnt by Fighto. Can't be too far away from getting that Zhonya's online now. but won't get a chance to farm up that wave anymore, especially with Zeri in his peripheral vision.
Yeah, so the thing that sticks out for me, Skimmy, in this composition is, and it's not that Lissandra does no damage, it's that this build is much more utility-centric, right? Going for the Everfrost into his Zonias is not maximizing your damage output. Nocturne is a bruiser who can do some damage, but that starts to drop off. Gangplank has gone for the Hex Drinker after Trinity Force, so much more of a duelist build right now. None of them are really hard focused into damage. Bot lane's not a hyper carry, it's a Senna and a Tahm Kench. So like this comp works. This comp can absolutely work. But there's points in the game where we might have to hold that Rogue.
Yeah. Oh, Rogue with the flash ult. The flash charm is there. The equalizer goes down, and even if the lights are out, I think it's only Kanga that are feeling the burden of not being able to see what they are doing. Tieng rocks the fixed skin, receives the Sonic Wave, and gets taken down by the support of Penta. There is the flash kick, the insect, if you will, on towards Liv, who says, thank you very much. I'll just try and assassinate your backline, but he will not find it. BalKhan still hungry for more, wants the ace. That's what they're after, and that is what they'll find.
And a really clean ace there by Pentanet.gg. Rogue just presses the ult. They find the angle. They force the fight and they force the engage, but it is extremely successful. Back towards the Baron buff they go, and realistically, and more than enough health to secure this one. And that's PGG that are warmed up, ready to play. I
feel like we've had today actually 3 games with very early Barons. 2 at the 20-minute mark on the spawn, this one now at the 22 as well. Certainly the timing has been impeccable.
And you can see the damage in that last team fight. Pretty rough from the bottom lane. They were the ones that got targeted very early. No Tahm Kench saving the Senna in that situation. So they just fall prey to all of the damage and chase down that PGG have in abundance. Kanga going to try to stop the Ocean Soul. Rogue has W'd the wall.
Yeah, he's absolutely failed that one. Oh, it's an absolute tragedy. He's got no flash. He's got no more tools left. Kanga rushing to deny that soul point, but now it's a 4v5, even with the gold lead, even with the Baron buff. Penta have been relying on the initiation from the Rakan.
Fighto has to turn here. I think Fighto has to find an angle to engage if they have any chance to win.
Tieng might just be burnt alive before it even begins. The lights go out. Fighto's still engaged on that one. Tieng's in trouble. Dawning Shadow goes across. Foreigner jumps on through with a Stride Breaker, looking to try and get his key target. Fighto with a self-cast of the Zonias is going to cop the Viktor on his head. The Devour doesn't do much. The Dragon has been stolen though, but the team fight, the combat stats of Penta, even in a 4v5, proving to be still too strong.
Yeah, they throw away their lives to secure the Drake, but that's 3 members gone, and I don't think Pentanet.gg care. Congratulations, you denied an Ocean Soul. We're going to get an inhibitor and 900 extra gold in our pockets from taking you down. And last straight to the bank with it. And they will continue to snowball this game as per usual. It's a solid effort, right? You admire the attempt from Kanga, but again, it's the pressure application from PGG. It's not forcing the fight, it's existing at the area that makes this so hard. Lissandra can't find an angle because they're not forcing. Senna ult is used to keep them alive from the dragon that's killing them. And finally, once they get the fight, and it happens, BalKhan kicks them back into the pit, locks them in a cage, and just beats them down. And Yuri's going to flash here just to see if he can get something more done, but he really can't.
Positioning-wise, it just seems a little bit awkward, right? You can see how Pentanet were grouped up as 5, whereas Kanga, certainly the resources were spread. Lionel very close to landing the route across the wall, didn't connect, as you said already. Fighto struggling to find the angle to get in there, given that the pressure was on, that they had to make something happen.
That's it. It'd be like one team has to, one team doesn't, and it's recognizing that allows you to play your best League of Legends. You don't need to force when you're ahead. You can just exist in an area and make them force. Give them no good option.
1 minute remaining on this Baron buff, and Fighto's going to put in as much good work as he can to claim some objective bounty gold up top side. Tier 1 goes down as Pentanet claim a Tier 2 in the bot lane.
Liv not nearly enough damage to be a threat at this point. No matter how many kegs he connects, it'll have to be perfect combos 5 times in a row to really stop this onslaught by Pentanet.gg. If they get this inhibitor eventually, it'll be 2 inhibs down. And the Viktor ult.
And a power play, absolutely. Just chuck out a bit of AP damage and see what sticks. On occasion, Liv can just walk away from that one. Overall success though, this Baron buff, it's net them a rather huge gold lead, was 10k. But the objective bounty obviously helping out just a fraction.
Pretty straightforward here for PGG. Deploy towards the top side of the map. You're looking for that 3rd inhibitor. You've got 2 minutes and 40 seconds until an Ocean Soul is there for you. If you don't get the inhibitor or can't end in that time, you've got the backup objective, the consolation of an Ocean Soul.
Sure.
is there for you. Kanga stuck between two really difficult situations here. Top inhib is the furthest point away on the map to defend from the Drake. And so it is really easy for someone like Wintro with teleport to just sneak the Drake by himself if the game even gets to that point. They have to fight for every inch here, Kanga. And give no quarter. However, they can't actually fight for those every inch that they're trying to fight for.
Yeah, and Pentanet have recognized this, right, and are certainly walking straight towards the base. And Liv will not be given any more chances to try and farm out a bot wave and buy time for those supers to come crashing on home. Baron buff gone, but the siege continues. Pentanet really looking to put a bow on it and force Kanga to have literally no options in a checkmate situation.
Praedyth just being relentless, hitting turrets as much as he possibly can. BalKhan just dancing around the edges of the team fight. Can absolutely look for an angle now. That Q may get followed.
Equalizer goes down, splits them in half as the zap connects as well. Lionel just gone. 20% and he's out. Fighto's in trouble as well. That's a self-cast. He's got Zonia's afterwards, forced to flash away, but he's going to get charmed. He might just fall on down. Rose put in so much good work, but he's going to die to Cannon Barrage. As they go out of golden stasis, they find themselves in a world of pain here, Rusty. Kanga, just a little bit more damage. Just a little bit more to try and claim that kill and thwart Pentanet's attempts. Praedyth tanking up a storm here on the turret. BalKhan might just drop to this one. He certainly will. Shutdowns flooding on through, but every inhibitor taken.
They give an absolute abundance of money into the hands of Kanga. Well executed team fight. Teleport comes in from Fighto here. He's going to find Yuri. Can he actually win this 1v1, however? He's got Praedyth hovering. Fighto might just be dead.
I think he really is. He's got no resources. Every summoner burn. Cooldown, ult, blast cone, mid-animation in the air. Blown up.
That teleport was a monstrous Hail Mary. Had a crack. Didn't find himself anyone that he actually thought he would be able to kill. Just fancied to disengage there and wasted the claw in the attempt. So, unfortunately for Kanga, the small reprieve that they were just gifted by a fantastic team fight. And it's fair to say Kanga actually execute this after Fighto gets caught really well. Gangplank ultimate was exceptional.
Yeah.
Rogue's engage is really nice. We will give them that. But it's the follow-up from Kanga to respond to this Senna ultimate. Foreigner Fighto dealing damage at all times, and Liv hits a massive combo here. Does so much damage in this skirmish. They just aren't in a position where they can win a fight. If this was dead even in gold, that's probably winning for them. But they're too far behind, and while BalKhan ends up going down here, Praedyth is just such a big threat that he'll dissuade any advance. Yes, Rumble. Fantastic, Rumble. Thank you. Bit loud, isn't he?
He is. I was just enjoying that for a moment there. Ocean Soul secured. Second Baron is in the possession here of Pentanet as well. And with Kanga unavailable to contest, to leave their base, Pentanet have only one goal in mind. Pick a lane. Push the win.
Absolutely. Any lane that they would like, just beat the door down. Mid lane inhibitor would be the first one that spawned back, so of course that's their natural course of action. Also just the shortest lane after Baron. If necessary, wait for the supers. You've got double supers crashing in both top and bottom in the next 20 seconds. Bottom about to crash now. Just chuck Baron on it. Or not, I guess.
Why not?
Or not.
And I just want to play a little bit of ARAM tactics right now. Liv has his ultimate up and
Here we
available
go.
one more time. Could be absolutely monumental in defending their base. Equalizer goes on down. Same with the Viktor ultimate. In jumps the Nocturne, hoping for a wish, hoping for a dream. Can they find the damage? Can they find the target they're after? They cannot. He flashed away and he's dead.
Oh,
They're
Praedyth.
inside the fountain trying to farm them. Praedyth's got excited. He's got the ultimate tick, charging and taking them down. Bang on 30 minutes. Pentanet go 5-3.
I feel like a really nice redemption round there from Pentanet.gg. Yesterday was a tragic loss from them. It started tough, however. Direwolves had a read early. This time around, they just get to coast towards their team fights. Someone's a Woolworths bag, but that's cool.
I love this.
What's
Welcome
the law?
back. The
What's the
return
law?
of the winter celebrations. We've missed these. I've been begging for them. I think I actually made a PSA last split after we saw a lot coming out from Winter and Rogue in particular, and then we never saw any more again. So I'm sad, but I'm happy now. Thank you.
Happy now? Because I'm back or because he's a
Because of
Woolworths
both,
bag?
mate. Because of both.
Thank you. I love you.
I love you too.
Again, what a game. That was a really interesting one to watch. Rusty, what's going on? You doing the facials today?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Another year older, another year bolder.
No, there's just so much tension to the right of me that I just feel like I'm third wheeling.
That's all right. That's all right. We can...
That's the face was I'm third wheeling. That's what that face was.
Yeah, that's okay.
It is okay.
Yep. So is PGG winning. Kanga, unfortunately, couldn't make it work. They had the global comp. I saw the draft, and I was like, oh, man, Kanga are really in this one to win it. I really love the combinations of what they brought in terms of the champions. But PGG, of course, just another step above. You had Winterer having a good time in the top lane. You had Yuri just farming plates in the mid lane on a scaling champ. Like, everything that could have gone right for him essentially went right from the mid game. You know, Kanga were doing a really good job as at least like trading some kills, getting some kill advantages really early on. So you can't fault their super early game. But then PGG, from about this team fight, is where things just started to go south real quick. This was the first ace that we saw. It was a BalKhan going real deep, you know, just hitting the Sonic Wave, trying to act like he didn't want to go for the ace and then jumping back in. And haha, surprised ya. There it is. Big kills coming through. And again, look, PGG, a bounce back win. Something that we expected after their loss yesterday. And I feel like even this one as well. Would you call this situation a misplay from Kanga? Do you think they should have turned earlier? I know you mentioned that, Rusty. But did they just get too tunnel visioned on the objective?
They just had them in check, right? Like there's actually no good option for Kanga in that situation because they had to fight for the Ocean Soul. And at that point, yeah, they were just hard red and they were kept in check.
And you mentioned that Kanga didn't have too many damage dealers in terms of the item builds. And it continued that way. They didn't really get too much going on. You got the Lord Doms eventually there on Lived. But at the same time, just look at the difference in damage between the potential damage dealers from Kanga there and then what we saw from specifically Yuri and Praedyth over for PGG, over 30k each.
Yeah, happy days for them. I mean, certainly had room to work with, right? Lots of mobility for them to run around and you cycle for those cooldowns, absorb all the pressure, absorb all the heat, and just kite back and then, you know, find that first kill. I mean, as Rusty mentioned, literally at the closing points there, if those were even fights, right? Not down 11k. Those ultimates from Lived coming in, that's a team fight win. So close, but ultimately, be it itemization or just the wallet gap, was too big. Yeah,
well, someone else that's too big all the time in terms of, you know, ego, mechanical skill,
here we go.
Beauty, handsomeness. I think his name's Praedyth.
Oh, the big dog.
And we actually have him for an interview too. So Praedyth, how you feeling after that win? You know, good bounce back from yesterday.
Yeah, more of a relief for sure to actually win once. So
yeah,
pretty happy.
Were you a little worried in the early game? You know, Kanga were actually playing pretty well there, but then you guys managed to turn it around once you started doing team fights.
I think it just focused on like Rift Herald Dragon. Like we stacked dragons really early. We did Rift Herald things we know we can do right, and that there's not much variance. You know, it's like we're probably better than most teams are doing these things. We're definitely better at Kanga doing these things. So we just stick to what we know works and didn't take any fights we didn't know we were going to win.
Did you enjoy playing an official on Zeri again? I feel like it's been a while since we last saw you touch that champ.
Yeah, for sure. Zeri's a really hard champ. I think she was out of meta for like a few months and then she went back in meta, and like that champ compared to other champs is really hard to play. Same as like Yasuo. Zeri, really hard champs to like be really good at. So really relieved to get a win on that champ.
Yeah, now quickly, talk to me about your goals. Obviously, you probably didn't have as strong of a first round robin going through this split. But going into the second round robin, look, you started strong. What are your goals? Are they shifting from where they were? Are you just trying to like hunt for that second position, or are you just also focused on the playoffs at the moment?
I think like every team will have a little meltdown where things aren't going right, you know, a little panic. And I think as long as it's not happening during playoffs, then it's fine. So, you know, maybe we're having a little meltdown now, maybe it gets resolved in the next few weeks, and then we're coming really strong to playoffs. So, I mean, I'm not panicked. I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, very solid indeed. Now, quickly, before I let you go, Rogue did mention your shorts game. It's getting longer, and it's too long now that he's not actually going to take you to the beach So maybe adjust the length so he doesn't leave you when he goes to the beach when summer hits.
I'm not going outside in winter, so this is like a problem for like a few months, like 3 or 4 months in the future. This is not a now problem I have to worry about. So maybe I'll start wearing long pants and yeah, who knows.
Beautiful. Well, we'll get the footy shorts back at any point soon. But enjoy your weekend. We'll see you next week, Mark.
Thank you.
First name basis, by the way, Mark.
Marky,
and the Funky Bunch. We're good mates, specifically Praedyth. Big game for him. I think he went deathless as well, which we did have a chat about, Praedyth sometimes, gets a little bit too aggressive, over positions, a little bit over exerts himself. But on Zeri, has those walls to survive.
It's very hard to kill Zeri. Also, the concept of every team having a little bit of a melty D at one point.
Yeah.
Trying to bring it back for playoffs. It's actually so extremely true in Oceanic League. There's a point where every team's just going to have one meltdown. The question is, how big is the meltdown? Do they bounce back? Because if they bounce back, they're better for it.
Yeah.
Well, the big question is, for me, who is the Dare MVP? Because there was a couple of standouts. Yuri played really well. Praedyth didn't give away any bounty gold and played extraordinarily well as well. I'm looking at those two. Do you want to talk about Winterer?
Rogue's engages are really good as well.
True.
They were clean, yeah.
Like most of the good engages they got were on the back of Rogue. But I would say Yuri was probably the most solid. Like all the early skirmishes were going his way for the most part.
BalKhan's ganks rotates as well, early to mid game. What was it? Who are we going to go with though? Who was the standout for you two?
I'm going to say Praedyth.
Who do you think?
I think we did give it. I want to give it to Praedyth just because he didn't go a little over aggressive today. Yeah. I like him on Yuri. Okay, we'll give it to Praedyth.
We'll give it to Mark.
The Dare MVP for today was Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. Big old Praedyth with a big diffy in the body. In the biffy? Today? Biffy diffy. 5-0 and 8, 72% KP and 30% of the damage share. Not as much as Yuri, but still doing a very damn good job. And that is why he is the Dare Iced Coffee MVP for the third game today. Any words on this man, Skimmy?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a valid point, right? When metas change, if you're just fully used to right-clicking and whatnot, and you suddenly switch back to a champion like a Yasuo or a Zeri, you realize, it does play a fair bit different, but it is a lot of fun. Yeah. I was wondering if we could sneak in there with a quick question and be like, was there ever a world in which Yuri was saying, give me that in the mid lane? But look, maybe he's just saying, it's never going to happen, mate. If I can get my hands on it, AD carry meta, for sure.
Look, if you want to know, jump into these interviews.
Next time.
Because
I think I know him on a first-name basis as well. I might have to talk to him after.
Very true. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a fourth game to get to, which means it's time to jump on into another break. After this, though, the runner-up of the game of the week, Peace and Direwolves. Let's see how it goes.
Hold that Rogue.
Yeah. Oh, Rogue with the flash ult. The flash charm is there. The equalizer goes down, and even if the lights are out, I think it's only Kanga that are feeling the burden of not being able to see what they are doing. Tieng rocks the fixed skin, receives the sonic wave, and gets taken down by the support of Kench. There is the flash kick, the instinct, if you will, on towards Liv, who says, thank you very much. I was trying to assassinate your backline, but he will not find it. BalKhan still hungry for more. Wants the ace. That's what they're after. And now
hey, look, menu pong.
Well, there you go.
Kitty's
Kitty,
too good.
Law Master,
Too
right
good.
there.
I actually beat Kitty at Law.
That's it.
Did
Kitty.
it happen? I bing-bonged before she whoop-whoop.
To be fair,
You interpreted nightmare.
the noise came in too
Yeah.
late. So
Okay, yep.